Hi, it's Angie Schmucker again, here to talk about board roles and responsibilities for nonprofit organizations. This video is going to cover resource management as well as what to do in a crisis and what your role is in a crisis. So resource management, three things. The staff, the people, what are the resources there? Now the CEO, it's his or her job to manage the people and manage the volunteers. But certainly you need to help make sure that CEO has the resources they need. So do they have the money they need? Are they able to recruit great people? Are you paying enough as an organization to recruit people, to get the talent you need? Have you done a compensation study? Are you supporting the CEO in the way that they need to get those people? Are you talking about the organization in the community so that you can tell your friends and loved ones and the people you encounter how great the organization is and why they should volunteer? So those people resources are one thing that you can help manage. How time is used. Time is limited. Small nonprofits have really limited staff, but nonprofits in general, they don't even compare to what a corporation has or a public organization has in terms of staff. So time becomes very limited. We have to make difficult decisions in nonprofits. So sometimes that CEO needs help. Sometimes there are extra meetings or executive committee meetings or meetings later where you're making a choice between A and B. You're helping the CEO decide, should our time be used for this or this? And so you're looking at the future and you're looking even at today's resources. And are we choosing carefully for longevity of this organization, for today's assets and resources? Are we going to use our time on this or this? Because it really is constrained for nonprofits. And then finally, financials. Now, one thing that I hear and that shocked me the first time I heard it is that nonprofits still have to make money. I really heard that people said, I thought nonprofits lost money. No, they still have to pay their bills, you guys. So we don't want nonprofits to lose money. Some nonprofits do lose money, just the way some businesses lose money. Some nonprofits have bad years, just like some businesses have bad years. The rules don't say that nonprofits spend all their time losing money. How do you think they pay their bills? How do they pay people? So budgets should balance. When you review and approve a budget, make sure it is positive. Make sure that there isn't a loss when you are reviewing it every meeting, every quarter. If you're on a finance committee and you're meeting every month, every other month, make sure that you are not losing money. When your board starts talking about how are we going to stop chasing money, they talk about chasing money. How are we going to stop worrying so much about always having to have event fundraisers? How are we going to stop worrying about paying this bill or that bill, and that happens with young nonprofits, and fundraising isn't as mature, and they want to think about having an endowment. Well, I'll tell you what, an endowment is not the solution for small nonprofits. You should be thinking, just as you might about your household, you might be teaching your kids as they're growing up, have a savings account, have a rainy day fund, have reserves. Your nonprofit, if you're a board member, you should be asking about reserves. Do we have enough money to pay the bills for several months, for a year, whatever you decide as a board, so that when things like COVID happen, can you continue to pay the employees if things happen and all of your events get canceled? Because if you were a nonprofit whose revenue was based heavily on a financial model for events, you were in trouble in COVID. And some sponsorship money still came in, but you probably had to refund money. You had to refund a lot of money, but you didn't want to let your employees go. You didn't want your employees to be put on unemployment. and you didn't want to stop helping the people that you were there to help and providing the services. And many organizations had even more services that they needed to provide during COVID. So that's what reserves are for. They're for difficult situations. So do you have reserves? If your organization doesn't have reserves, work on that before you work on endowment. So your financial assets, they're also things like your building. Things like leases, insurance, contracts, those are your responsibilities with resource management. One of the other things you should be doing is making sure that your spending and everything that you do is aligned with your mission, your vision, and your values. Are you making decisions that make sense, that your founders would be proud of, that align with your values? Make sure that your decisions make sense and are in alignment with your organization. The other thing as a board member you want to do is really work on risk management. Are the controls in place to keep money from being stolen, lost, misused? That's one of the things that is so easy to put in place and so easy that when it's not in place for a person to come in and easily misuse, misspend, or steal money. And a board can be full of nice people and not realize it's happening. So make sure all those controls are in place. That's your job too. Mitigate those risks. Mitigate the risk of really great people leaving too. So all sorts of risk. Do a risk assessment. That's a great role for a board. And there are people on boards often who know how to do this because they've done this in their real life jobs. Let's talk about one more thing. Let's talk about crises. Unfortunately, it's real life. There are crises that happen. There are all sorts of things that go wrong. All you have to do is read the news in your town. Every year, there's all sorts of things that go on. So there are all sorts of things that unfortunately can happen and is going to be in the news. It's going to put your organization in the news at some point in the future. So be prepared. Have crisis plan in place before anything does happen. Who are the people that the CEO needs to call when there's a crisis? Do you have a PR firm on call? Who are the people that are going to advise you on what to do when there is a crisis? And how is the rest of the board, if they're not on that immediate call list for the decisions for the crisis, how is the rest of the board going to be notified? Because the last thing that you want to have happen is find out about it on the news. That's horrifying to be pinged with a notification that your nonprofit hit the news because of fraud, embezzlement, or something else, and as a board member you didn't know. So have those procedures in place, make sure that those are in place, and then know what you're going to do about notifying people what the proper things are to have happen, and how you're going to protect yourself from it happening in the future. The best thing you can do is prevention, but you always want to be prepared for the unexpected. So those are just a couple of the jobs for this video that are the roles and responsibilities for board members at nonprofits, at governing boards. Follow us, subscribe to our channel at Schmucker Advising. Look for us on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook. Look below for other resources on our website and other freebies that we offer, and check out upcoming video on things not to do if you're a board member, and another video on fundraising and advocacy. Thanks, we'll see you soon.